What's up, y'all? Sparty here, and I don't want to keep making rant videos or anything like that, but I just want to talk specifically about a specific topic since the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus launched today. Now, I recently watched a YouTuber's live stream. The YouTuber is named Everyday Tech, which is just Everyday TEQ, all all one word. I'll link his channel in the description. Watch the videos, by the way, but I just don't want to plug his channel and not give him any traffic or anything like that. But it's like, I'm not even gonna bash Apple in this video. I'm not gonna bash Samsung. I'm not gonna bash LG. I'm not gonna bash anything. I'm gonna bash fanboys or just cultism for companies in general right now. Whether it be whether it be in the mobile space, whether it be in the gaming space, whether it be in the TV space, whether it be in the PC graphics card space, whether it be in anything in that fucking in anything that is in regards to tech. Hell, even like and apologies if you hear the bus in the background or whatever the fuck that is. That I have a school legitimately right across from me. So I just want to talk about this. So he, so what happened in his first live stream was that he tried to go into the Apple store and record a video about the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus, right? You know, because they just came out. Because he made a video asking, does anybody want him to cover the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus launch event, you know? And I'm pretty sure, obviously, he did it because people wanted to see it, so he did it. But guess what happened? Apple told him he can't record in the store. So he made a video basically discussing despite, apparently, because he said that other people were recording in the store, why the fuck couldn't he? Well, he didn't say why the fuck couldn't he, but he basically said, why couldn't he? But, he left and was like, it's like, here's the thing. My main issue with shit like this is that Apple makes it seem like they're still the walk in the park, right? They're kind of like Sony when the PS3 came out. When the PS3 came out, what happened? Sony thought that since the PS2 is the best selling console in the world, and it still is to this day, that Sony thought basically that they could charge $600 for a console just because it has a Blu-ray player in it, just because it has this cell processor in it, just because it has all this high-end tech in it, that people are gonna pay $600 fucking dollars for it. And guess what? Guess who undercut them? Microsoft. And what happened the first 7 years of, the last generation of consoles? The Xbox stomped the PlayStation 3. Now, the PlayStation 3 came out in the end. It actually outsold the Xbox 360 because people soon realized it has nothing to do with graphics. It has a lot to do with exclusives, which is why my entire thing with the Xbox One X is sure you can run shit at 4K, and they say 60 frames per second, but I fucking doubt that. But Microsoft is canceling exclusives left and right. Aside from Cuphead, aside from Forza, aside from, the basic shit that they've always had. They canceled Scalebound. I'm not going to get into this gaming shit, but I'm just saying they canceled shit that people have wanted. They shut down studios that basically made them exclusives just for them to buy exclusive rights to shit and then write it off as their own for a launch title and shit like that. Like Rise of Tomb Raider was only really Xbox One first, then it came to PS4 second as the 20th anniversary edition. Hell, I have the fucking game. Comes down to that. Whereas it PC, the whole Nvidia versus AMD thing. Now I kind of get that because AMD has been struggling for quite a long time, and they kind of been making piss poor products apparently until now. So I kind of get that. It's whatever. I'm not going to get into that because I'm not necessarily the one to talk about PC shit. You want that, go to Linus Tech Tips, go to Jay's 2 Cents, go to any of those channels, and you'll get your fix out of that. Now, but when it comes to phones, when it comes to games and it comes to phones, those are my forte. When it comes to this shit, right? People, I want to say, I'm just going to go with Apple fanboys in particular. And a lot of people are guilty of this shit. Hell, I'm guilty of this shit too. But especially when the G5 came out. But I grew the fuck out of it. I came with this saying, when a self-proclaimed, not even self-proclaimed, but motherfuckers assume you're a Android fanboy when you say shit that, oh, Apple is using 2-year-old tech, 3-year-old tech, they're doing nothing new. Which is basically what they've always done. You gotta kind of take your fanboy hat off for a minute and look at the facts. Apple has always done the, oh, we're going to take a feature and make it better. Kind of like Nintendo. Nintendo took the D-pad and made it better. Nintendo took the analog and made it work for them too. They didn't necessarily make it better. I think Sony made it better. And everybody else improved over that. Like, there are a lot of things that you need to realize. Apple doesn't always innovate. Nobody really always innovates. It's hard to do that nowadays. The most you could do with innovation nowadays is take a feature that already exists and make it amazing. And that's what Apple's forte is. And I applaud them for that. I applaud them for going, we want to make facial recognition hands down the best thing. I can get that. I could vouch for that, But to pretty much fragment your iPhone line by making 2 phones with Touch ID and 1 phone that doesn't have it, 1 phone that's gesture-based, 2 phones that aren't gesture-based, 1 tablet that has an entirely different user experience compared to the phones. Like, can you really say that iOS isn't as fragmented as now? Android is way worse due to the fact that there's 80 different companies making Android phones per year. Now, it's not 80, but you know what I mean. That there's 80 different Android phones, low end, high end, mid range, all that shit that come out per year. And it's the fact, but people only pay attention to Samsung, LG, maybe HTC, depends on if you're a fan. Huawei, maybe, if you're a fan. And I'm not shitting on HTC or Huawei, I'm just saying. Moto, since they're still in the spotlight now. And stuff like that. You pay attention to the big dogs. You don't pay attention to shit like Alcatel. You don't pay attention. I'm not saying these are bad phones. Don't misunderstand me. I'm saying that the average consumer doesn't pay attention to shit like ZTE, Alcatel, and shit like that. Even Huawei, they don't pay attention to Huawei because guess what? ZTE, Alcatel, and Huawei are notorious for having lower end phones that suck ass. So no one pays attention to their, higher end shit. which totally makes sense. It makes sense, you know? And I get that sentiment, but you got to realize that it takes more than just. Then when people say, oh, it's 2-3-year-old tech, an Apple fanboy comes in, it's not always about the specs, it's about the experience. So tell me this, if it's always about that, why the fuck is it that Apple comes out every fucking year, this is the fastest iPhone we've ever made? They're like sploosh on the fucking stage every fucking year now. When the first couple iPhones came out, they never said that. Steve Jobs might have come out and said, okay, it's a little bit faster, it's a little bit better in these areas. He might have said shit like that. I don't know. You don't hold me to that, because I didn't watch every Apple event, okay? I didn't. There's certain philosophies with iOS I just don't like. An example, the fact that they're making shit different across everything, despite the fact that iOS wasn't supposed to be fragmented like that, okay? That's the whole meme between iOS and Android. Oh, Android is fragmented. It's not really anymore. Like, if carriers could get on the fucking bandwagon and stop fucking up with updates, it wouldn't be so bad. That's the only bad part. Because, okay, look at Samsung's user interface, okay? Let me turn this down here. It's basically a theme over stock Android. That's all it really is. It's never something that's, it's not as bad as it used to be. But you look at more better examples like LG or like, HTC, where their stuff looks more like stock Android with a theme on it. That's all it really looks like. And you could fucking see that it's not as fragmented as it used to be, as far as it gives you an entirely different experience on one device. You get an entirely different amount of, problems on one device. You still get a couple kinks with each different device. Like, I still have kinks with the Note 8, like the proximity sensor is ass flakes on this fucking device. Like, every other time I take it out of my pocket, after 5 minutes, it decides it doesn't want to fucking come on for some reason. The always on display. Whereas every time I take my V20 out of my pocket, despite the fact that there's a scratch over my proximity sensor, it comes on every time. Right out of my pocket. Aside from if there's like sweat on it or anything like that, like super hefty sweat, or like lint from my pocket or something, that's pretty much the only time. But every other time, it works flawlessly. That's one thing Samsung needs to get right next time, is the proximity sensor. No reason to have a bad proximity sensor in this day and age. That's all I'm going to say about this. But the whole spec war thing is pretty much done. Like, I was done with it when the A10 made the Snapdragon A10 made the 1M9 overheat, and I went with the LG G4. That's when I was done with it. Because I was like, okay, I don't necessarily need that. Then the G6 came, oh, it doesn't have the Snapdragon 835. Even though every time I fuck with an S8, it lags. Not necessarily on here, it doesn't. But every time I fuck with an S8, it lags. Like, it stutters. It's visible. Just like any time I fuck with an iPhone, it stutters. It's seeable. I can see it. I can feel it. Something I wasn't able to feel with the iPhone 5S. Now I can feel it. Something I wasn't able to feel with like the Nexus 4. Something I wasn't able to feel with the G2, the G3, the G4, the G5, the V10, the V20, the Note 3, the Note 5, and the Note 8. I don't feel that shit. But every S-series device, I fucking feel it. Like, it comes down to experience. I get that. But don't fucking say that, then as soon as you watch your reviews, oh, this is the best camera ever. Then you go on there and sploosh all through the comment section. Apple did it right again. They did it right. First of all, stop. The fanboy shit just needs to stop. Like, for real. Because it comes down to one thing. they're not doing shit for you, but giving you a device to buy. They're not clothing you. They're not feeding you. They're not doing any of this shit for you. That's how I've always felt about this, especially in the gaming space. These niggas ain't doing shit for you. They're taking your money and running with it. And in Apple's case, they're not even fixing the problems even hardcore. Hardcore, the hardest of core for Apple users want back. Not even just like shit like the headphone jack. I'm talking about just usability wise. They want a smooth user interface. They want a smooth user experience, which they're not getting in their opinion. And the fact that I'm hearing that from people that I followed for years to get Apple News, not like the big people, not the big people that talk about it, but the smaller people that actually care about user experience. They actually care about UI design. They actually care about, is it fluid? Not just, is it a pretty phone? Does it have wireless charging? Does it have a fingerprint scanner? Does it have water resistance? Does it have this? Does it have that? Like, not that shit. At the end of the day, specs don't matter. It's not the hardware that you run shit on. It's the software that works in tandem with that software. The software is ass, which was Samsung's problem for a long time. They're finally getting used to it. They're finally getting over that hump. Then it's not going to be that way. Sometimes you just need to fuck it and say stock Android. Moto, stock Android. Lenovo, stock Android now. Like, sometimes you need to go that route. Sometimes you just need to have a leaner version. And that's what LG and HTC are doing. And Samsung is doing that to an extent. Despite the fact that this phone being, jam-packed with features. But, it's like, it's never the features, it's the implementation of those features. And portrait mode, portrait lighting, I don't know about that. Like, why put more shit on top of something that barely works in the first place? Like, I've seen it. I've used it. I've used it on here and it works exactly the fucking same. Like, you have to be in a certain, distance, and every time I fucking try it, it barely works. And when it works well, it works very well. Just like when I fucked with it with the iPhone 7 Plus. When it works well, it works very well. But I'm not about to sit here and act like it's the best thing ever, because simply it's not. I don't like the implementation of a telephoto / regular angle lens. I just don't care about that. I care about a wide angle. Hell, I'd rather prefer a monochrome sensor, just so I can get possibly Huawei's implementation of the bokeh slider, because I like that the best. But as far as this goes, this is why in front of almost everything I talk about when it comes to reviews or just rants or anything like that, I come out and say, this is just my opinion. Don't come into my video and talk shit just because it's not the same as your opinion. That's what you need to get right. Your opinion is your opinion. My opinion is my opinion. That's all that matters. So let me know what you guys think about this. This is probably going to be my last rant video for a while unless something really big comes up, like if LG fucks up again and decides, we're not going to market the V30. Let's see what happens there. But yeah, anyway, this is Sparta. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for the support. Be sure to check out the videos I'll keep in the video description here. All right, have a good one.